Welcome everyone to Joomla Overview 101. My name's Justin Hucker and I'm with Code9Design.com. So this training is going to be for individuals that want to know a little more about Joomla Content Management System and its capabilities. We won't get into the administration panel too much in this training, just this is meant for a base overview of what the system can and cannot do. And there are no prerequisites for this training. So we'll talk a little bit about what Joomla is, some of the pros and cons behind Joomla, as well as the features. We'll show you how to log into Joomla, a little bit about the administration panel. We'll talk about Joomla extensions, and then also Joomla templates. So Joomla is an open source content management system. A lot of times you'll see the term CMS to refer to content management system. It's essentially just a software that allows anyone, even if they're not very technical, to log in and manage their website. Users can do things, they can like update articles and pages, they can post images, they can update their menu, and they can also manage their site users. You can actually learn more about Joomla at the site joomla.org. That's going to be the main site for Joomla. So, about the pros and cons of Joomla. As mentioned before, Joomla is open source, and open source typically means free. Open source essentially means that anyone can go look at the code, they can modify the code. Some of our viewers may have used Mozilla's Firefox browser. That's also an open source piece of software. The development team behind Joomla is a bunch of volunteers who have put it together. And the best part about it is it's free. Another big pro is there's a huge library of extensions that go along with Joomla. And extensions we'll talk a little bit more about later, but they're essentially things that add functionality into the core of Joomla. The con behind Joomla, you're going to need to have it hosted somewhere. Anytime you have a website, you're going to need hosting. It's going to have to reside on a server somewhere. You're going to need someone who is technical in web development to install, design, and set up your Joomla site. Another con is since Joomla is open source and free, there is a lack of support for it. Now, there's a ton of great message boards and other documentation online you can find, but you can't actually call someone up and say, here's my problem. So sometimes you have to kind of troubleshoot and work through the issue yourself. And of course, there's no training with Joomla because you're not actually purchasing Joomla from a company. Again, it's open source and free. Now, if you work with Code9 Design for your Joomla site, we'll take care of the hosting, the design, and setup. We can answer any questions you have, and we can also provide you with the training on how to use it. So the features behind Joomla has a WYSIWYG interface for page editing, and a WYSIWYG stands for what you see is what you get. And it's essentially no more difficult than editing a document in Microsoft Word. There's buttons for bolding things, there's buttons for making a bulleted list, and it's real easy to edit your articles. You can also edit your menus in Joomla, so what pages are going to be on the site. Joomla has a built-in search functionality. You can place polls on your site with Joomla, and you can place banner ads on your site with Joomla. And the core Joomla installation also has a ton of modules for things like displaying your most latest articles, maybe your most popular articles, which have had the most views. You can do news flashes. There's modules for breadcrumbs, RSS feeds, and there's a module for seeing who all is online. So how to log into Joomla? Well, to get into Joomla, you simply go to whatever your site's domain is, .com or .net, and then /administrator. And actually, if you go out to Joomla's site, they've actually got a demo on there, so if you want to log in and get an example of what kind of the admin looks like and get a feel for it, you can go there and you can log in. let me actually jump off here, and I'm going to go to my site, and we'll go ahead and log into my site real quick. So as I mentioned before, it's going to be your URL, and then administrator. And that'll bring you to a login screen. You'll need a username and password. Whoever set the site up for you can provide you this the first time. And go ahead and log in. That'll bring us to the main Joomla screen. From here, we've got some options. We can add a new article. An article is essentially a page on your website. We can go into the article manager. We can do some other things in here as well. All of these options here are also going to be in this top menu. So you can see we've got drop downs for editing menus. We've got the content drop down. I won't get into what all these things are in this training because we have later trainings for that. But all of the functionality with Joomla is essentially going to be in this top menu under one of these drop down headings. So I want to talk a little bit about Joomla extensions and what they are. An extension essentially just adds functionality to Joomla in some way. Extensions, it makes sense not to build them into the core of Joomla because some of the examples I have listed below, like a shopping cart, a photo gallery, a events calendar, a document management system, or a blogging, not every single site is going to use all those things. So if you built all those in, it would make the software very bloated, and it's nice to have them extend as extensions, and you can install them as you need them. Now, some extensions are free, others are paid. Since Joomla is an open source system where anyone can go look at the code, many developers have written these extensions for it. Some choose to charge for their extensions, some do not. You can actually go to Joomla's site, joomla.org, and browse for those extensions. Let me actually pull up that site. So this is joomla.org, and there's actually a link right on the top nav here for extensions. And you can go in here and you can search for an extension, or you can kind of browse down by category and type of extension you're looking for. You'll notice currently there's 5,495 extensions on their site. So Joomla, one of the things that's great about it is there's a huge community of developers and web designers behind it that make it so great. So for instance, if you did want to know, if you found an extension and want to know more about it, say we want this homepage slideshow, you can click on it and it usually tells you if it's free or charge. You can see under license here, this says non-commercial, so this is probably a free extension. You can get some information about what it does exactly, and there's links to download the extension. And then there's an area within the administration for Joomla where you can upload and install extensions. It's really simple to do. Of course, with any extension, there may be some template work that needs done to make it look pretty on your site, so that's where your web developer or web designer would come into play with that. Let's go ahead and jump back to our PowerPoint. Now, the other thing I want to talk about was templates for Joomla. Because it is such a large community out there of people that use Joomla, there's a number of sites that offer free or low-cost templates that plug right into Joomla. And what I mean by template is the look of your site or the design of your site. So I've listed out a few sites that I've used before to find templates. As I mentioned, some of these sites have free ones on there. Usually the price range is about $50 to $75 per template, and there's some really great looking templates out there. And of course, if you find one you like and want to use and get a site set up, Code9 Design can do that for you. So now that you've been through this training, your homework, of course, is to decide if Joomla is right for you. Go out to their demo site and play around with it. Look, if it is, find a template and a design that fits your needs, and then if you want to go forward with it, you can contact Code9 Design and we can talk about your site and we can get you a quote to actually set it up for you. And with that, I just want to thank everyone for attending Joomla Overview 101, and everyone have a great day.